Alright guys, how's it going? This is Skyler from Cyborg Security, and today we're trying a little experiment. We're doing something a little different. We're doing a Let's Play. I figured it would be fun to play some war games and some programming security type games, and hopefully learn some stuff along the way. So today we're playing Microcorruption, which is a 16-bit microprocessor exploit development type game. If you've never done assembly or exploit development or reverse engineering, this is a great place to start. It's a very easy instruction set, as you'll see when we get into it. So we've already played a few levels here, but we'll just start again. And it gives us this nice little backstory about the lock. The microcontroller MSP430 is a real instruction set. They actually do provide us a little manual over here about the guide. So this is great. Nice little backstory here. And they teach us a bunch about... So it does have NX, which we'll see soon. And it shows us all the code, some of the interrupts. And down here at the end, we get a good little intro to the assembly language that this game uses. So that's awesome. And they also provide the TI manual, which I won't get into because it's a few hundred pages. But let's get into the real game here and see what we can learn. So the first thing we notice is we have a little disassembly window. We have our debugger, as well as our registers, some output, and the memory. So let's just start on the first level. Okay, so if we look for the main function, we see this create password, which, oh, that's a breakpoint. We don't need that right now. And down here we find create password, and it looks like they just give it to us right out of the gate. This seems to be just a gimme level, but we'll take it. We're just going to copy this here, throw it in our little scratch pad, and we will come over here and continue, and just put our password in. So what do we have here? We have 5C, 52, 30, 4D, 5E, 3166. And that should be our password, and it should work. So if we come over here and hit continue, door unlocked. So that's step one done, but we're still in debugger. So we have a whole list of commands over here if we just type help. These are all the things that we can do. So we just want to type solve. And I probably should have copied that out, but that's okay. We'll just type it in again. You live and you learn. And door unlocked. So that's level 1. Easy peasy. Let's move on. And so after every level, we get this nice little overview, and they kind of tell us what changed, why the level's harder, what's going on. And usually just the most important part is down here at the bottom. We've received reports that the prior version of the lock was bypassable without knowing the password. We have fixed this and removed the password from memory. So this sounds like it should be a lot harder. Down here we have main, enter password to continue, get password, check password, and we have this 7F interrupt, which if we check the manual about what 7F is, we have all the interrupts here, and it looks like 7F is just trigger the deadbolt. And things will start getting a little harder once we get into the security modules, it's going to start setting flags in memory. But we're not dealing with that right now. So let's just hit continue. And we're just going to put in any password we want. Continue again. And we get invalid password. Try again. So let's go ahead and see what check password does. And it looks like, once again, it's just in memory, just waiting for us. So we will reset. And we should probably copy those. And just dump these over here for reference. So if we continue, and we type in our password over here, we have 454F 3464, and I just realized the first critical mistake. So MSP 430, if we look in the documentation, I wonder if the documentation even tells us this, is a little endian. Alright, I don't know where it's in there, but I promise it's in there. So MSP 430 is little endian. So we need to put these in last byte first. So 4F 45 6436 6434. Aha. 7A4A. 284C. I'll go ahead and copy that. And if we hit continue, then hopefully the door should unlock. But as we were solving that, we had some breakpoints set and the ability to kind of change some things in memory. So to very much pass the level, we need to hit solve, deprive ourselves of all those things, and our exploit works. So we're just doing some gimme levels now, and we'll get there in just a second. And we can see they've updated the lock to connect with the hardware security module, so that's going to start coming into play. This is software revision 1, allowing communication with the HSM 1. Okay. So if we come down to main, all it really does is call login. We have this unlock door function, so that's probably going to help a bit. Check password valid. It's probably useful. And log in. So it looks like we are just getting the password, moving this byte into 2410. There's a comparison here, so that seems important. And then we unlock the door. So let's go ahead and run it. And just put in any password that we want. Should be good. And we will continue. And when we hit this breakpoint, we need... So jump not equal. So we need 2410 to equal 51. So what do we have here? It's equal to 41. So it seems like if we just pull up an ASCII chart here, and we pull out 51, we have G. I'm sorry, Q. I'm going blind. So if we just reset here, and just fill it with cues. That should be good enough. And there we have it. Pretty easy. I believe that was Hanoi. So now we're starting to get into the ones we haven't played. We have fixed issues with passwords, which may be too long. And they have removed a conditional flag that could accidentally get set by passwords that were too long. Okay. So once again, let's look for main, which just goes to login. Unlock door is still there. And login seems to do roughly the same thing. Test if the password is valid. Test R15. Unlock door, or don't. So let's go look at test password valid. And we'll set a breakpoint here. And we'll just continue on. Put in whatever we want. This is going to be pretty much the same workflow for every level. Alright, so let's see what's going on here. We're just pushing some values. And then given R4, so if we just run help here, we can see all the commands available to us. And we just want to track R4. And that should give us another line like these two that just show us where that is. You can see that shows up right here. Alright, so we're just going to move 0 into -4 R4. So that should be right about here, -4, and this should get cleared out. And we can see that it does. So here we're just going to move a value into R14, and it looks to be some sort of mask to get an address. Putting some values on the stack. And then we are pushing 7D and calling int. Let's go look at what 7D is in the interrupts. Where is it? There we go. Interface with the HSM1. Set a flag in memory if the password passed. So, spoiler alert, that's probably never going to happen, because if we guess the right password, it's not much of a game, is it? So, I guess we should just finish out this function. Test R15, that's going to fail because it is 0. The password is not correct, which is going to print out. We're going to increment the stack pointer, and then something interesting happens. We notice that SP is still within the memory that we control, and we are about to return. So this is a classic stack overflow, classic buffer overflow, sorry, where we are able to control the return address, and we have this beautiful function up here called unlock door, if I can find it, at 4446. So all we need, it looks like 16 bytes of whatever we want, and then our address. So let's go ahead and reset and try that out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16. And then 4446, although it is Little Endian, we need to keep remembering that. And hopefully that should work. We still have this breakpoint here. We can just remove that. Address unaligned. It seems that we have messed something up. We will try again. Oh, we need to check this box. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14, 15, 16. And these are bytes now, so we need to double that. And then 4, 4, 4, 6. And that should do it. And it opens. So as always, we're going to solve and just paste that back in. And it opens. It seems like every time we solve a level, we get access to quite a few more. It looks like we can do this in any order we want, but we're going to keep going sequentially. This lock is not attached to any hardware security module. Implemented military-grade on-device encryption, so I guess we will see what that means. Okay. Wait, what was that little tidbit at the end? That was fun. We apologize for making it too easy for the password to be recovered. The engineers responsible have been sacked. I appreciate that. That is fun. Okay, so what do we have here? Again, we have a main function, which seems to call ENC. And if we look at ENC, it seems to just push and move a bunch of values around. So I guess the only way to really know what that does, because I dislike static analysis, is we will set something right there. And it seems like immediately after we call 2400, which right now is not populated. And it seems it does populate it now. So if we were to step into that, we no longer have the benefit of this debugger. It seems the only purpose of this is to make our life hell. But fear not. We will just copy all of this. And they have provided us a little disassembler for us. How nice. And if we hit disassemble, we can get all of the code. Granted, it is much less fun to pick through now, but we'll make do. So we see this call to 2464 right here. So let's just go ahead and set a breakpoint. And see what that does. And we can see down here, as we continue, it prints one character at a time. So it looks like that is just a put C. Actually, it is pushing a value and then doing that. So I'm willing to bet that is an interrupt. Interrupt 0. The put char, yes. Okay, but that is useful. We know that 2464 is the interrupt function. And this does not have a hardware security module. So actually I can see it right here. This push 7F. This is our unlock right here. And if we just walk backwards, we can find where we need to be in order to get this done. Okay, so push 7F. We have this compare. It looks like we need this compare to pass. And it would be great if we can set a breakpoint at that and see what R4 is at that moment. B490. AM69, is that right? Yes. Okay, so it looks like this is 2448. Keep doing that. So if we break at 2448 and reset, and just run until we hit that. And we should remove that break for 2464. That's going to get real old real quick. Just give it any random password we want. And here we are at our breakpoint. So, if we remember, we are looking for 24 before R4. So it looks like actually the first 2 bytes of our input. That is surprisingly easy. And we just need it to equal 69A0. And of course, little endian. So we will give that a shot. A0, 69, and then any other input just to make sure it overflows. Oh. And it unlocks. Let's just go ahead and solve to do that again. A0, 69. And there we have it. Feels like we're speedrunning a little bit. But I hope we're learning some good stuff here. We have updated the lock firmware to connect with the hardware security module. It is important that we realize that. This means that the 7F hopefully will still work, but may not appear in the code. So that is good to know. We have removed the function to unlock the door from the Lockit Pro firmware. Okay. So that seems to imply that the unlock door function is no longer in here. Replaced with conditional unlock door, pushing this 7E. Which, as the document tells us, interfaces with the HSM2, trigger the deadbolt unlock if the password is correct, which it never will be. So that is not a lot of help for us, but there may still be vulnerabilities within here. So let's go ahead and look at this login function. It seems that we just print, get the password, conditional unlock, and a return. Not a whole lot to it. It is nice enough to stop every time we add input. I appreciate that. And we will step into this function and see what is going on here. So if we look at our stack pointer as we do this, we are just pushing some things on the stack. As well as modifying this R4 variable. It seems to like doing this masking math on R14. It seems like this is going to become a pattern. That is okay. We're just going to finish out of that. And then R4 minus 4, we're targeting this byte, which seems will have been set, which will never happen. And R15 is expectedly 0 because we don't know what the password is. So my best guess is that we are targeting this ret for an overflow. And if we just continue, we can see, again, SP is within our target space here. We have a new challenge now, though, is that we cannot just jump to unlock door because it does not exist. So we are going to have to add it into the stack ourselves. So int is at 4532. So if we go ahead and reset and continue, we said 45, nope, sorry, 3245, and then we are going to need to push 7F onto the stack. Go ahead and copy that and continue. And we do not need these anymore. We know where the attack is occurring. The password is not correct. That is curious. It seems like we have misaligned something. Very interesting. Let's try again. Two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I do not see where the issue is, but we will see what's going on here. We will set a break on int. Actually, that is a terrible idea. That will trigger all of the time. We will set a break on ret. And continue. So, it seems like we have this address correct. If we step, so we are in int. Let's see what's going on here. Okay. Actually, I see exactly what's going on here. So ret int is expecting to be called and not returned to. So it is expecting that the next thing on the stack is a return pointer, and therefore our stack is misaligned. So if we go ahead and provide it this, and we add a stack pointer, it doesn't matter what it is, it just needs to fill what it expects to be filled, and hopefully that will get everything into alignment, and the door will open. So I hope I'm not going too fast here, but this is a good time to pause and talk about buffer overflows. So we're seeing a lot of buffer overflows going on where we are filling return pointers, which is the most common type of buffer overflow. There are also ones where we can just overfill flags or values, which I believe did happen in some of the earlier ones, but we did go over that quite quickly. And I believe there should be some stack canaries in here somewhere, but it has been a few years since I've played. We have re-implemented much of the code according to our internal secure development process. That is not super helpful, but we will figure it out. Alright, the main function does pretty much nothing except call login. Conditional unlock door. This looks, for the most part, identical. And here we have login, asking for our password, getting the password, string copy. This is new. Memset, this is new. We are going to want to look at these things. So let's continue, and we'll just, I'm not liking this full A thing we're doing. It makes it hard to see if it's being truncated. Hopefully that should help. Okay. So it seems like we are doing a string copy out of the 2400 where they just dumped it. It seems like it is dumping. What did we go up to? M? I think this may be truncating just a little bit. It looks like only 30 bytes are being accepted. Or, I'm sorry, that's in hex. That would be 48 bytes. Okay. So that is not so bad, and that does track with the length here. So if we step into this, it's a very simple function. And it seems like it's just going to copy it to R15 43EE. If we finish out of that and go check where that is, it definitely seems like that is the case. We can see it right here, starting at 43EE. So let's continue. And then it is taking that old address, and it looks like we are going to memset it. We're just going to clear this out, I assume. I don't know that that's worth analyzing. Yes, so we are just clearing this out. Okay. Now, once again, we're going to call conditional unlock door, and nothing is going to happen, hopefully. And we are going to assume that the exploit works the same way. And SP is still definitely within our string. So I don't see how this level is any different, but I will take it. Yep, seems pretty easy, guys. So we'll just do as we've been doing this whole time and insert, what is that, 16, 18 bytes, and then our interrupt. And I actually need the address for where int is, because I can't rely on it being the same. It is 454C. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 4, 5, 4C in Little Indian. And then a stack address of whatever, and then our interrupt code. I do not see how this is any different from the last level. Ah, and like a moron, I forgot to check the box. That is why that is happening. So we will check the box and try again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 4, 5. Whoop. 4, 5. 4C. Any 4 bytes, or any 2 bytes. My bad. And 7F is our interrupt. And hopefully that will work. Address unaligned. Okay, so this is subtly different. So let's reset and see how. I really should copy this down. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 4, 5. 4C. 7F. And we're going to copy that. And see how that differs. Ah, it doesn't seem like it did. I'm just miscounting. Okay. It's all part of the process, guys. These things happen. And if we continue on, it opens up. So I don't actually see the difference between the last one, but that's okay. Solve. Do it again. And, oh, not opening. Interesting. Why do you not like that? Curious. I'm sure it is just some dumb mistake on my part, but I don't know what. So let's see what's going on here. Just make sure we're counting this up right. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that should be 16. it seems like that should be correct. And it does open, so... okay, I don't know what the issue was, but we got it solved. We are just speed running this game. But that's okay. I assume soon some DEP or ASLR will come in, and that is probably where we'll call it for the night. I don't know that I'm up for that right now. However, I did notice something in the documentation. We seem to have this interrupt for marking pages executable or writable. So it looks like we may be able to turn off DEP and then jump into the stack. That may make things easier. But I have not tested this theory. We have improved the security. Ensuring passwords that are too long will be rejected. Let's see about that. Okay, and it seems like it does realize that the password is too long, and does not overflow. So this may require a little bit of extra work on our part. There is a string copy here, so I assume it's going to start truncating. And there's this 3F get SN, so I guess that is our hard limit. Curiously, it is 3F, but they still tell us that it has to be under 16. So there is a discrepancy there, probably because without a vulnerability, this game is not very fun. So let's see what we can do about that. And if we look at 2400, our string should be there. Wow, we have not yet reached the 3F limit. That is impressive. That should give us plenty of space to work with. So, seems like we are moving that to... I actually don't know where we're moving that to. Oh, it probably R1543 EC. Probably right there. So let's step in and finish that function, and we can see that our password ends up right there. And we will step into the test password valid, set a breakpoint for next time. We do this, see the 7D, that will never work. At least I hope not. And that is a bummer. So I did set a breakpoint on this ret, hoping that there was overflow going on, but it seems like even with this length, it still is using legitimate return addresses. So that's a bummer. But we won't be discouraged. So R15 is 0 as expected. I wish it would be 1, but that's not quite how this game works. So that is going to jump down here to password incorrect. Outputs to print that out. And then it looks like we are comparing SP11 to 40. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So this needs to be 40, it seems. I'm sorry, that would be negative 11. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. This right here needs to be 40. So it seems like this is actually a stack canary, which is a good time to teach about that. A stack canary is a known good value placed in a known location, and if that value ever changes, you know that something overwrote it. So it can be good to detect buffer overflows. It doesn't stop buffer overflows, it just detects buffer overflows. But since we know what the value it is checking for is, we can just make sure that when we do overflow, we put that same value back and make it undetectable. So let's check the ASCII chart and see if we have a value for 40, or else we'll just have to type it in. It is an @ sign. That can make life a little tiny bit easier. Oh, I'm sorry, that is hex. The cardinal sin. So this is not 11, this is 17. So it is checking this right here for that. But we're just going to let that... We're going to change that right now, just so that we can see what is going on. What would that be? 43 FC? Yes. 43 FC equal 0x40. Oh, you don't need to specify 0x. That is nice to know. And see if we can skip over that. Oh, it still didn't. We screwed something up. Interesting. How did we screw that one up? Oh, you know what? It's probably checking that one. I did not count properly. That's okay. We'll reset and try again. So we will just put in 16 of whatever we want. And then the 17th one, it needs to be an @ sign. And the rest will be overflowed. And we can see if that ends up in the pointer counter. We don't need this anymore. We know what's going on there. So it seems again we have miscounted. That is a bummer. We can't miscount if there's more than one. Let's just do that. And we'll copy that. And that seems to work. So add 12 to SP and ret. And it seems like immediately after the double @ sign is the address that we will now control. And we've been over this more than enough times, so this is quite simple. Int is at 4594. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 4, 5, little endian. 9, 4. Stack address and our interrupt 7F. Don't forget the box. And I hope that works. And great. So let's solve and move on. We seem to be doing quite well. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What did I say it was? 4, 5, 9, 4, 7F. And it did not like that. Seems we're making a lot of minor mistakes recently. 4, 5, 9, 4. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, we forgot the 40 check. And it opens. With any luck, we may beat this game tonight. Maybe not. It is 3 in the morning. By the way, if you guys are liking this content, please go ahead and give a little like in the description. I hate being like that, but it lets us know that this is something you enjoy. It's something we should do more. So that feedback is actually very helpful. Okay, where are we? We have added further mechanisms to verify that passwords which are too long will be rejected. I've heard that one before. Okay, once again, main is, actually, this is a novelty. We're going to have to take a look at that. And it just does nothing as a plugin. Once again, we do have an unlock door function back. This is cool. Test username and password valid. That is interesting. We will set a breakpoint there. Authentication now requires a username and password. These strings are interesting. And the login, we will set a breakpoint there. This is starting to seem obsessive. We will remove those. That is a hell of a function. Okay. And let's not forget the rats, because that's, let's be honest, that's where all the vulnerabilities have been. Okay, so what is going on with SP here? This is interesting. It seems like we're adding just a mask, so this might only jump a little bit. But it seems like I am not correct in that. It jumped quite a bit. Where's SP at? 43 CE? Why does it not show up? Oh, 43 CE. It's up in this range that is not listed right now because there's nothing in it. So when we call login, I am not going to do the static analysis right now. We will just go ahead and run it and see what goes on. So please enter your username. Let's just try a normal username first. Please enter your password. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It needs to be 8, apparently. Let's give it input that it prefers and see what's going on. Okay, so it seems like our information is stored back to back, and that may be our vulnerability here. We can overflow one into the next and create one large string. It does look like there's a canary in here, so we'll need to be careful of that. At least I assume that's what this 0810 is. It could be nothing at all. Um, 4044. We played by the rules, so this shouldn't be an overflow. That would make no sense. And our password is not correct. Let's toggle minimal mode. This is so much nicer. Just make sure that we don't cut off the output. Okay. So if we reset, we are done playing by the rules. That's not what we hackers do. So we're going to cheat and see where this gets us. Invalid password length, password too short. That is curious. My password was anything but short. So where does that string get printed, and why does it happen? Oh, interesting. I actually cannot find that string anywhere in here. That is curious. Maybe it is generated on the fly? No matter. I don't think that's important at the moment. Alright. Maybe we'll play kind of by the rules? Is that what they want from us? Oh, both are between 8 and 16 characters. Okay. So... we'll play by the rules on just the username. That way our canaries will remain intact. Okay, so it seems like it's dropping whatever we type in here, and then string comparing, or string copying it. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I wanted to see what was going on. Okay, and then we have that string copy. We have a puts. Move 2404. What happens there? Oh. That's our string. We're going to puts it, apparently. And we're going to string copy it. So let's set a breakpoint there. And continue. By the way, this printing out passwords, this is already quite a bad security risk, but I don't think that's quite the point. And that string copy did run. So here we go. It looks like our canaries are in order here. So let's see what we can do here. We do have a test here. So R14 43B5. 2, 4, 5. So the start of our password. Jump not 0. 245D8. Ah, I see. So this is just a loop until we get to the end of the password. So once we get here, and remove this breakpoint. That means that R14 should be at the end of the password. Let's just go ahead and track that down here. Yes. Okay. So move R14 into 11. As long as we're keeping track up here. Sub R15 R11. Okay, so we're just getting the length of the password, which is 2F. And we are moving 18R4. 43CC. So that would be 1, 2, 4, 6, 8. So this 10 should get moved into R15, and that's exactly what we see. Sign extend. And we are comparing the 10, which is actually 16, to R11. Okay, so we are checking whether the password is actually 16 long, but the 16 that we're comparing against is actually in the data that we have control over, so that is stupid. So this needs to be the same length as the password. It's good to know. And we won't be able to control that from the password because it is before the password, but we can control it from the username before it. So we need, what is that? That would be 16, 18, and then the byte that we want. Okay. So that will probably jump fail. Oh, actually, 45FA. Okay, so that will not jump. I don't believe. Yes. Okay. But let's just pretend that it did. 45FA. And continue on and see where that gets us. 19 R4. So this 8, I believe. Do R15. Okay. Was that a good jump? Is that a jump we wanted? Yes, it is, because we had a stop program execution right here. So that is good. So we are making sure that the password is within these two bounds, except for the fact that we have control over these two bounds. So this should be easy enough. So we are moving 0 into 2CR4, negative 2CR4. R4 is 43CC. So 43A0, I believe. Moving that mask in 43A0. Push that. I'm not sure all of this math that is happening here, but we will continue until that breakpoint. 2CR4. So 43A0 is 0. And if that is 0, we jump to 4644, which is not good. Well, that's a bummer. So we may have to look at trying to force this test to pass, but let's continue execution and hope that there is a buffer overflow at this ret. Minus 6R4. Really should be tracking this. 2, 4, 6. Okay, so that is going to fail. So we need that test to pass. Let's look at how we can do that. So let us reset and continue. Okay, so our username needs to be 16 long. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And then it needs to fit within the two bounds, which we can just make up whatever we want. Right now we're going to use BB as a place filler until we know what the length that we need is. Actually, if we just set this to 01FF, it will always be within bounds. We don't really need the math. And then a really crazy long password. And let's see if that will do it. You must have an even number of characters. That is how hex works. Yes. Actually, I put that all as the username by mistake. But let's see what that looks in memory while we have the chance. Where does that even go? I do not see it. It's problematic. Okay, here we go. There it is. So we have a bunch of A's as the what should have been the password after the bounds check. So if we continue and just replace those with C's, I am curious how that looks. And it looks like there is still this AA here, and this should not be aligned like this. I think we miscounted. Yes. So let's not waste any more time on that. Let's just correct that right now. We need another one of these. I do not understand, but okay. I could have sworn I had that. And a bunch of C's. And let's see if we have our memory set up the way we need it to be. This looks about correct. And this is actually interesting. Our password seems to have been shorter than the original password area of our username. So it's actually injected this null byte here. We actually can't type null bytes in our input. It would just terminate the input and anything after would be ignored. So I believe we found a way to inject null bytes, albeit only one, but that could come in handy if we need it, provided that this whole username password thing continues. So let's hope that it does. But that is quite useful. Okay. So we want to just pause on all the tests, because that is what is the most important part. The tests and comparisons. Yes, okay. So we are testing that R14 has any value at all, which it does. What is going on? What is... Oh, right, this is incrementing that, so we need to not... We're going to keep pausing at that until we get to the end of the... As you can actually... Let's try that again and just watch as this increments down. Yes, so we're just incrementing through the password. So we need to get rid of that, or we will be here all night. Okay. So, comparing R15 to R11. Okay. And we've skipped over this program execution stop, so that's a good thing. And once again, we are getting it right. This is not going to pass, obviously. And this is the test that we need to force passing. So R4 minus 2C should be right there. How are we ever to affect that? I do not know. It seems to be beyond our scope. But of course, maybe that is not the point. Actually, how does 7D work? Set a flag in memory if the password passed in is correct. Okay, so I believe that is beyond our scope. It is supposed to be set by this 7D. So we need to ignore that because there's nothing we can do about it. at which point this ret is probably what we are targeting. Okay. So that password is not correct, but maybe it will open anyways. Where does this go? 465E. Okay. So, actually, we have a stop here, so we need this test to pass. How do we get that to pass? Jump 0. 2, 4, 6. So this right here needs to be 0. Which it is, actually, if only by mistake. I believe I'm reading that correctly. Okay, so happy accidents. So it would seem that our password needs to be exactly 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, actually, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17 long. Exactly. Okay. And then we add 28 to SP. And return. So it seems like we still had room to change these. We can edit that out. Okay. Okay, so it seems like if our username, and I believe these A's are from the username, we still have room to attack these. So let's just do a little bit of math here. And we will move this a little higher. Okay, so we need our username to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17 of anything we want. 01 FF. I believe another 17 of whatever we want. I'm sorry, that's the password. We need 17 of whatever we want. And then we need a 0, 0. And then 1, 3, 5. So let's just call that 6 because we're not going to get that 0 in there anyway. That will come in when the password is entered. And then an address. So do we have an unlocked door in here? If not, we will have to build it up ourselves. Which is not a big deal. We know how to do that. 46C4. 46C4. And you know what? Let's just do this here already before we get confused. 7F. So this is what we're going for. So 17 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, another 17, and then 6 of whatever we want. And that should do it. This is our username, I believe. Alright, and then egg till 0, and paste that in there. So, hopefully this should do it. So if we just reset this, and try again. And hopefully that will do it. Where do we have it here? And as long as we got this 0 in the right place, I think this will work. Why is this one? We don't need that anymore. Okay, so I believe that should pass. And that should also pass. And this is one of the moments of truth. Actually, no, it's not. That is from the 7D that will not pass. We do not need to know. This is a moment of truth. We're testing whether that is 0, which it looks to be. Add 28 to SP. That R4 is getting in the way. We'll just get rid of it for a moment. There's a pop, pop. And it seems, yes, okay, so we have done it. And as always, let us solve. Oh boy. Alright, well, it is nearly 4 in the morning, and I think that was a stressful enough one to end on. We may have to do a part 2. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I know this may not have been the most exciting thing to watch, but I think it was relatively interesting. It should be a good introduction to this game. I highly recommend that you try it, and definitely try to get past some of the levels that I am here. But I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys liked this content. If you did, please drop a comment saying what game we should try next, or just give a thumbs up to let us know that this kind of weird experiment that we're trying is working. And that's it, guys. Thank you for watching.